Hello, my name is Dr. Jawad, and I'm going to go over 11 everyday toxins that are harming your thyroid that you may not notice that you're going through on a daily basis. Now, millions of Americans struggle with low thyroid symptoms, and millions more experience the symptoms of low thyroid, only to have their labs come back negative. Now, they're told they are quote unquote normal and are left with no answers. So, symptoms like anxiety, irritability, depression, brain fog, weight gain, and fatigue can debilitate lives for decades, and no one has given them the answer. One major underlying factor that isn't being addressed in the standard model of care is toxins. Now, whether they're synthetic or natural in nature, toxins are a piece of the complex thyroid puzzle. So I'm going to go over 11 offenders that may be affecting your thyroid every single day. Testing. Who am I? My name is Dr. Janan Jawad. I practice right out of Chicagoland in a town called Carroll Stream, Illinois. My webpage is www.totalhealthpage.com. And if you're watching this on Facebook, just please hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell notification right next to it. I try to upload videos weekly, depending on my crazy schedule. And when you hit that bell notification, you will be first to be notified once I upload the videos to YouTube. So let's go over 11, and now these are in no particular order, okay? For number one is percolates. Now the question is, what are percolates? Now, almost all of us have percolates in our bodies, according to the CDC, and it's a byproduct of the manufacturing of rocket and jet fuel, but most importantly, car airbags and fireworks. Now, unless you're a pilot, you're not going to experience a lot of rocket and jet fuel. However, if you're riding in a modern day vehicle, you're going to get the airbags and also fireworks right around the 4th of July. The thing is, these toxins leak in, and also these toxins leak into much of our drinking water and food supply. And the CDC study found widespread percolate human exposure and a connection between percolate levels and thyroid hormone levels. Now, the problem with percolate, it prevents the production of thyroid hormone, which can lead to low thyroid symptoms. And one study found babies born with elevated levels of what's called thyroid stimulating hormone. Now, thyroid stimulating hormone, this is a signal from the hypothalamus gland to the anterior pituitary gland to tell the thyroid gland to make thyroid hormone. Now, when you're exposed to this, okay, it prevents the production of thyroid hormone. So this can lead to a low thyroid symptoms, okay? So what's happening is that one study found babies born with elevated levels of thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, so that means there's low circulating thyroid hormone. They may have been affected by small amounts of percolates in the mother's drinking water. Now, remember, whatever mommy feels, whatever mommy takes in, whatever mommy ingests, it translates down to baby, because where are we living in the first 9 months of our lives? In our mother. So the studies and the work of the environmental working group show that not only percolate exposure is pervasive, but even the low levels of percolate exposure can have negative health effects on the thyroid gland. Next is PCBs. What are PCBs? Now, it's polychlorinated biphenyls, okay? Now, what are they? They're industrial chemicals that were banned in the 1970s. Now, they were banned many decades ago. However, the key thing is they're still detected in our environment daily. And it's been shown to increase thyroid dysfunction. And by increasing the level of the thyroid stimulating hormone, it can make your body resistant to the thyroid hormone. Very similar to how insulin resistance is seen in type 2 diabetes. And also, in addition to, they can also affect the liver enzymes. Now, the liver regulates the conversion of the thyroid hormone. Okay, so it regulates the conversion of thyroid hormone. So we make the thyroid hormone in our thyroid gland, and it's circulated throughout the body. Now, 60% of the thyroid hormone, the inactive T4, is converted to active hormone T3 in the liver process through liver conversion. Now, the thing about PCBs, it actually affects the liver enzymes that regulate the conversion of the thyroid hormone. So this could also lead to thyroid dysfunction. All right, dioxins. Next is dioxins. What are dioxins? Now, both PCBs and dioxins, they're both shown to have a disruptive effect on the endocrine system. So these are what's called endocrine disruptors. Okay, this affects the endocrine system. Now, just a little bit of a background. What is the endocrine system? The endocrine system is basically your hormonal system. Now, whether it's regulating your thyroid gland or your the pancreas or your adrenal glands, or if you're a female, your ovaries, if you're male, your testosterone, your testes, I'm sorry, the endocrine system runs a negative feedback loop, and this just helps distribute your hormones. Now, dioxin is the primary toxic component of Agent Orange. However, Agent Orange was many, many decades ago, but you could see here on the slide, it's involved in the air pollution, water pollution, okay, soil contamination, and so forth and so on. So this can lead to a lot of thyroid problems. Next, this is soy. Soy is always so interesting to talk about because there's a lot of people who talk about, well, soy is good, soy is bad. Yes, soy is good. However, American soy is bad. Okay, now if you live over, in other countries where soy is clean, bless you, you're going to have a really healthy diet and you're going to have a very healthy system. However, this soy in America, okay, is toxic. Phytoestrogens in soy proteins have been found to inhibit the thyroid peroxidase. So the problem with soy, it's able to disrupt normal thyroid function by inhibiting the body's ability to use iodine. Now we need iodine for thyroid hormone production, and thyroid peroxidase is the conversion basically it's the use of iodine into T4. Okay, so it blocks a process in which iodine becomes a thyroid hormone. So inhibiting the secretion of thyroid hormone and disrupting the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. So what it's doing is it's blocking all of your thyroid hormone to be utilized. Now, whether it be the conversion in your liver, the conversion through your gut, or the conversion in the peripheral tissues, okay, because we do have thyroid receptors in the peripheral tissues, that blocks it. It kind of puts a cap on it. And researchers has also found that infants fed soy formula had prolonged increase in their thyroid-stimulating hormone levels compared to infants fed the non-soy formulas. Now, a lot of the baby formulas, you have to look at the labels. It could have either a whey protein in there as part of the predominant protein source, or it could be soy protein, which you can see here blocks the absorption of the receptor sites for the thyroid hormone. Okay, so soy is also commonly a genetic modified food, which adds another variable to consider. So soy, the bottom line, no matter how you slice it in America, now if you're listening to this PowerPoint presentation, if you're overseas, like in the Eastern countries, and soy is not a problem, so be it. But in America, soy is very, very. Now, next one is pesticides. This is a doozy. I deal with a lot of patients who live in country areas, farmers and so forth and so on, where they have a lot of pesticides spread on their crops. Now, one study found that women married to men who use pesticides in their daily work were at a much higher risk of developing thyroid problems than other females. Because another study warns that about 60% of pesticides used today may affect the thyroid gland's production of hormones. And many antifungals and weed killers used on the produce have been shown to decrease thyroid function and increase weight loss resistance. So one of the functions of the thyroid is to regulate how many calories are burned at rest, called the basal metabolic rate. And also one of the functions of the thyroid is to break down the food for absorption. So if you're experiencing a lot of pesticides, if you're living in those areas and you have a lot of pesticides on the foods, this could be one of the reasons why you have hypothyroid symptoms. And this is, I know it's expensive to do. This is one of the benefits, one of the many benefits to buy organic vegetables and organic fruit. Because what you want to do, you want to buy something, I know it's kind of costly, but you want to buy these products without these pesticides, because these pesticides may be one of the reasons why you're experiencing hypothyroidism. Now, this is important to know, flame retardants. Now, flame retardants, what are flame retardants? Okay, or they're really keyed polybrominated diphenyl esters, okay? And they've been found and have been found in several studies to disturb thyroid function. Why? Because flame retardant chemicals are found Where are they found? In the television and computer screens. As I'm looking at my computer screen right now, I'm getting bombarded with these PVDs. Okay, and it's also as well as the foam used for furniture and carpeting padding. So these chemicals, these are all we are exposed to these all over the place. Now, one of the things I'm not suggesting you sell your furniture, you get rid of your computer screens, you get rid of your television screens, and so forth and so on, and live in a plastic bubble. But one of the things I would just want to inform you is just this could be one of the reasons why you're experiencing hypothyroid symptoms. Now, they're found in many Americans, and they're linked to behavior and developmental problems. Again, they're endocrine disruptors. We need proper function of the endocrine system to also have proper brain function. So again, this is one of the things that you maybe have an experience. One of the reasons why you're experiencing some behavioral and developmental problems. I was dealing with a patient whose kids were 12 and 13 years old, and they were just bouncing off the walls. One of the patients had a 12-year-old boy and a 13-year-old female who couldn't sit still, always distracted. The young boy had ADD, and when it came down to it, they realized it was the foam that was in their carpeting and their sofas that was causing to have hypothyroid symptoms as well as behavior symptoms. So next, plastics. Now again, we're bombarded with plastics every single day. Now, beyond an environmental concern, plastics can also be hazardous to your body's environment. So antimony, I'm sorry, a chemical that leaches from plastic bottles is one concern. Now, researchers at the University of Copenhagen found that antimony levels in fruit drinks and juices in plastic bottles at levels 2.5 times higher than what's considered safe in tap water. Now, again, this is one of the things I always stress to my patients what I'm dealing with is that fruit drinks and juices, regardless, if you buy in a plastic, if you buy in a store shelf, yes, it has 10% fruit juice, but my question is always to them, what is the other 90%? Now, if anybody who's actually made fresh orange juice from an orange knows that you don't get that much orange juice from a fresh squeezed orange. So this is another reason why you want to ditch the fruit drinks and juices in those plastic bottles. Now, phthalates in some plastics have been shown to decrease thyroid function, also as well. Bisphenol A, BPA, and again, this is the main ingredients used in plastics. Food can coatings, and also dental sealants decreases thyroid receptor site sensitivity. So what you're doing is that you're making yourself more insulin resistant. It's kind of like we all have thyroid receptors all over our bodies. It's like an open plug, and the thyroid hormone actually goes in there and makes a connection. Now imagine having a covering over that hole. The thyroid hormone is going to come around and want to connect, with a male plug and a female plug. But if that female plug is covered, then what's going to happen is that the thyroid hormone is just going to bypass over the receptor site, causing insulin resistance. And again, you're going to have hypothyroid symptoms. So again, this is another reason why to ditch the plastics. This is PFOAs. Now, what is PFOAs? So one study found that perfluorooctanoic acid, otherwise known as PFOA, it's a chemical used to make Teflon, food wrappers, and other products which can affect the thyroid function even at moderate levels of exposure. Now, yes, I cook, and I used to love the Teflon pans because it made cleanup very, very simple. Problem is, when you have these chemicals on the Teflon, and no matter how hard you try to cook very, very clean, yes, you're going to have these chemicals that are going to leach into the food, which is going to cause a hypothyroid symptom. And a study in the Environmental Health Perspectives found that higher concentration of PFOAs are associated with thyroid conditions that are seen today. Now, again, you have the Teflon, you have the food wrappers. Okay, so you want to look around your kitchen to make sure that you're doing the best you can with the utensils that you're using, the plastics, the Teflon pans. You want to do your best to watch out will affect your thyroid. Now, next is halogens. Halogens, if anybody has taken high school chemistry or college chemistry courses, understands what halogens are. Now, these are the periodic table of elements. Now, the two most important ones are fluoride and chloride. Now, where is fluoride found? Fluoride is found in toothpaste. Now, the benefits of fluoride toothpaste today in the 21st century is absolutely no benefit. Fluoride was added to the toothpaste back in the Depression days because again they had fluoride. They didn't have that much exposure to food, so they needed to bump up the fluoride in toothpaste to actually to protect the body. However, now that fluoride is everywhere, the exposure as well as chloride can lead to a decrease of iodine transport and block the conversion of T4 to T3, which is the active form of your thyroid hormone. Now, again, it covers it. It's like a male and a female plug. So that female plug gets covered, so it blocks conversion of inactive T4 thyroid hormone to active T3. And fluoride was found to suppress thyroid function, and the dose needed to reduce the thyroid function was very, very low. You don't need that much fluoride exposure to affect your thyroid. How much exposure, you ask? About 2 to 5 milligrams per day. Now, you could also absorb these halogens through the food, your water, medications, and the environment. Why? Because they're very, very similar to iodine, and they can occupy your iodine receptors, making the body's iodine's levels unusable. Remember, because it blocks the conversion, especially from T4 to T3. Heavy metals. I love this name, heavy metals. It's not because I'm a kid in the 80s, okay? Heavy metals, mercury, lead, and aluminum can all trigger antibodies, which in turn lead to an autoimmune thyroid condition such as Graves' and Hashimoto's disease. So again, we're exposed to heavy metals on a daily basis. If you were born in any time before in the 20th century, if you have any cavities, most likely the dentist fill up those cavities with what? With mercury. Okay, so this is not acute poisoning that I'm referring to, which will show up on a conventional blood test. What I'm referring to is that chronic heavy metal toxicity, which can only be accurately shown with a urine test using what's called a chelating agent. And the chelator will pull the metals from your cells where it can be leached, so it could actually be measured on a test. So yes, again, we don't live in a bubble. That'd be too easy to do that. However, again, this is just one of those situations where if you have too much heavy metals circulating your system, could be the reason why you're experiencing hypothyroid or the reason why you have an autoimmune disease. Now, again, an autoimmune disease is basically the body attacking itself. Graves' and Hashimoto's is just the immune system attacking the thyroid. All right, next is antibacterial products. Now, yeah, we're exposed to antibacterial products every single day, and there's an ingredient called triclosan. And what it is, it's an antibacterial chemical added to the soaps, lotions, and toothpaste. Now, again, when you have toothpaste, you want to look for two things. Is fluoride in the toothpaste or is triclosan in the toothpaste? I personally do not use toothpaste with fluoride or triclosan in it. It takes a while to look around and find it, however, you can find it. So, although some research has shown small amounts to be safe, there's evidence that triclosan is an endocrine disruptor and impacts thyroid function. And one recent study found that triclosan had an effect on thyroid hormones, and another showed that triclosan interacted with androgen and estrogen hormone receptors. Now, androgen and estrogen hormone receptors, especially when you're dealing with females, is that you're looking at the hormonal production after postmenopause because the ovaries, which deals with most of the female hormones, the estrogens, progesterones, and testosterones, when they start to shut down, the adrenal glands, which you have two of them, and they sit on top of the kidneys, they supply the body with the rest of the hormones, androgens and estrogen hormones. Okay, so when you're experiencing these products daily, this could be the reason why the postmenopausal females are experiencing hyperthyroid symptoms or thyroid dysfunction. Right, so again, remember, I always say this, every person is uniquely complex. Everyone has its own genetic tolerance for toxins like these. So think of your genetic tolerance as an empty bucket, and these toxins are filling up the bucket. And some buckets are smaller than those of others, and this is why you have a set of twins. One will get sick, and the other one will live for 100. Okay, it all depends on your genetics. So some people can be exposed to all these toxins and show no noticeable effects on them. And basically, this is not a simple one-size-fits-all solution, basically. So if this sounds like you, please visit my website. Please get in contact with me. There's a click button on the upper right-hand corner. You can schedule a 15-minute free consult with me if you want to, basically to see if I could take on your case and see if I could help you out. If you enjoyed this lecture here, please hit the like button down below, the subscribe button, and please share with a friend. My webpage is www.totalhealthdepage.com. If you're local in the area, my phone number is 630-653-2225. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Be good and take care.